right?
Look at that. Look at that. How you guys doing today?
You see that scoreboard? I'm doing fantastic.
How
Got
about you, Sam?
a little sweaty,
I
but
got my cardio in.
I
yeah,
got my cardio in.
yeah.
Yeah, we were watching that game at Sam's house, and we kept thinking about you there, bud. We were like, how far is that brick either entering or leaving his body?
Oh, jeez.
I kept
So.
saying that that brick is in Vince's pants, and then when the game was over, I was like, that brick is back inside, no mess.
That's right. Had it the whole way.
Yeah.
No worries. Fucking hell.
We
Yeah, we're
don't have
talking
a
about the
There it is.
49ers and Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, we don't have a lot on the show docket today. We've got to obviously touch on the playoffs today, guys. Getting ready to get back in the swing with basketball here after that tragedy last week, and we got some Sharks news and some across the pond football news with the old Wrexham here. So without further ado, Vince, let's roll here with the playoffs here.
All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna share my screen just so we can see the scores. I won't leave it up terribly long because there's only 4 games up here. So we'll bring our faces back to talk about all of them. But I'm just gonna read them off real quick. The Ravens beat the Texans 34-10. The 49ers survive against the Packers 24-21. The Lions beat the Buccaneers 31-23. And Kansas City gets the job done over the Bills 27-24. And so let's just
Well, before you jump into those,
yeah.
I would just want to mention like a good portion of those games were decided by kickers and like lack of making or making with Carlson and Moody and when you look over at the Bills game and their kicker as well, who's been probably arguably maybe one of the worst kickers this whole season. So it's just interesting, and it does show that a price cannot be paid on having a quality kicker when time calls for it.
Right. Yeah. So let's just go through each of these games, I guess, and we'll save my team for last because that's what we do here. We save our own teams for last. Texans and Ravens. Did you guys have anything of note in that game that you wanted to speak on? I mean, if it was the only touchdown that Houston had the entire game was it wasn't even an offensive touchdown, right? It was
Right.
it was like a kick return, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
so
a kick return.
that offense just the Ravens absolutely shut them down. So I got kind of I saw you guys were each taking an upset special, and I kind of peer pressured myself into doing that, and that's why I ended up with the Texans pick. Otherwise, I would have gone three right, and everybody. But in the end, we all got 2 games right and 2 games wrong, so no change in those picks standings. So
No, I think
yeah,
the Texans overall, like they had a great year. I think they're
mhm.
ahead of schedule.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't necessarily, I mean, depending on what they do in the offseason, but it depends on what the entire league does in the offseason, who gets better. But you think, they hit the quarterback, they got some stars on both sides of the ball. You would think as a franchise, the general manager, the head coach, you think they're probably gonna be able to add more young pieces. So I think the future is extremely bright for Houston, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next. They're going to be a team. I would not be surprised if they are a team that dominates for the next decade, much like what Kansas City has done. Because when Kansas City put this thing together, it was a decade ago now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. First with
um,
Alex Smith, and then they get the upgraded quarterback, and they just have not turned back since. You
so
know,
He's as a
their
full-time
future's bright.
starter, he's 6 for 6, right?
um, this
I
is his
believe.
6th year straight in the in the AFC conference finals, right? Yeah,
So as a full-time starter, he's 6 for 6 in the playoffs, at least. So getting to the playoffs, I should say, right?
Getting to the AFC title game.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
believe
that's
so. Yeah,
crazy. I
yeah.
know that pisses
Well, the
Sam off.
rest of the fucking division isn't, not really putting much of a challenge.
Yeah, if there was a year to do it, this was the year to catch them. It could have been done,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen.
Wow.
And the Ravens are the real deal.
Absolutely.
So they have their quarterback. They seems like the Ravens always have a top one defense. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but they
they're
always
always
have a
hovering
top
in the
three,
top
top
five.
four,
Yeah,
top five. Like
yeah.
they're always there. So we knew they were going to be there. And I think, Houston, I expected this playoff run maybe next year. And so maybe they're a little bit ahead of schedule, but the Ravens are for real. I
Hmm.
think we expected that, that outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So we're gonna skip the Niners game. We'll circle back to that. On Sunday, the Lions and the Buccaneers game. That was a lot of fun. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was a great game.
I
A
just,
lot.
yeah, it was a blast. I mean, and we the Lions end up getting that win. I'm very happy for the city of Detroit. They've been waiting more than 3 decades for something like this to happen, and they suffered through a lot of torture in between. And I'm genuinely happy for the city of Detroit, and I'm also really sorry that I'm gonna have to put an end to it this coming weekend. But it is what it is. It's a hell of a season, and the farewell tour begins on Sunday.
Yeah, I picked Tampa Bay to win it, and obviously that didn't happen. I'm definitely happy for the Lions. But you know what? I really liked how Tampa Bay played. They're kind of a team that you didn't really expect to be in the playoffs. And Baker Mayfield probably never going to live up to that number one overall draft pick status. But he balled out this season. He was a good quarterback. I'm not gonna say he's an MVP, but you know, you got like 4 MVP quality quarterbacks in the league.
Mhm.
It's really hard to be a top 5 quarterback.
I'll tell you what, Baker earned himself a paycheck
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
year.
there's
Yeah,
gonna be there's
he's
gonna
gonna
be
get paid.
if
He did more than enough there.
If Tampa Bay doesn't re-sign him right away and he's on the street and he's able to entertain offers from other franchises, he's going to be in demand. Somebody's going to offer him a multi-year deal. He's young enough that he could be a bridge quarterback
Hmm.
where, somebody like Minnesota, somebody like the Raiders, they're
Yeah, he flashed.
potentially he flashed and he could be a
The,
bridge quarterback to a draft pick.
the problem with Baker is like while he did flash like against the Packers earlier this season, like that was a great game. He also like followed it up with that 9-0, barely won the game on week 18 to clinch the playoffs. Like if they were playing literally any other team, they lose that game and they're not in the playoffs. So that's part of the you take the good and the bad with Baker, but yeah, he definitely earned his paycheck at least. Like he's gonna probably find a home. I would imagine
Dude, he
Tampa
went
extends him.
for regular season. He was ninth in the league with 4,444 yards.
Hmm.
I mean, like he threw the ball pretty damn well. 28 touchdowns, 10 picks.
Yeah,
His offensive line wasn't that good. I mean, he got sacked 40 times. That O line, he was running around for his life. So, I mean, you put a decent offensive line in front of him,
yeah.
you see some of those numbers go up.
Draft a
So,
player or two to
yeah,
support that offensive line. See what happens.
And
absolutely.
I think this is my opinion, but I think that this is probably maybe the last time we see the Bucks for just a couple years from now, just because I think Mike Evans is going to walk. They're obviously Baker Mayfield's probably not going to come back. I think he's going to see what he's. I think he definitely earned himself a paycheck to entertain free agency. And to Sam's point, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he went to be a Raider. I mean, you're going to have arguably 2, 3 wide receivers and a good decent tight end. Maybe that's another place where Baker Mayfield
Yeah,
shines again.
the,
Maybe.
the Raiders' job, if you're a starting quarterback, that job's not terrible. Like if
Yeah.
you're looking
With
for a
Baker
place, like
Mayfield,
yeah,
as he played in the regular season and in the playoffs, you put that with Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfro, Jacoby Myers, the tight end. The offense that they have, the weapons that they have on offense, and the Raiders had a decent offensive line with a bunch of outside of Colton Miller, a bunch of no-name guys. They did pretty well on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And if the defense rolls back what they did this year, I mean, that's not a bad veteran to have. And then if you can, I don't think you're going to be able to get a quarterback in this draft unless you mortgage the future and move up. But you could have some options in the second round. Penix Jr. is kind of being put into the second round, so he might be able to fall to you in the second round, and maybe you have him sit for a year. I don't know, but a current Raider team with Baker Mayfield, that doesn't really sound bad to me. I mean, it's an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. Jimmy has not been the same since that knee injury in year 2020.
No.
Like,
and you know what? I like Baker in Cleveland. Unfortunately, him and the Browns couldn't put it all together.
He got a bit of a raw
Baker's
deal
moxie. I like that moxie. I like that attitude. I like that he was getting up and dropping first downs.
I think it's a great Raider attitude, though.
I think he would do well.
All right, so let's talk about the Lions real quick. They get that win, obviously, and Jared Goff is back in the NFC title game, but with a different team this time.
Yeah,
one of the NFL meme accounts on Instagram, like they post this picture of Jared Goff dressed up as Willy Wonka, and basically every time the Lions won this year, they were like, "You just lost to Jared Wonka," and it's like him just kind of dancing a little bit in his Willy Wonka costume. It's amusing.
Fun fact: the last college football game I ever watched, or to now, in case I watch one next year, was Jared Goff at Cal. And I left early because that game was at 1 a.m. and they were in the third quarter. And I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah, college games drag so long. There's a lot of reasons why. We don't need to get into all of them. But so CJ Gardner-Johnson is already talking his trash to Debo. So Debo is we're not sure if he's going to be able to play or not. He got injured early in the Niners game, so we'll see how that shakes out. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun week. A lot of John back and forth. So the Chiefs and the Bills.
Hold on real quick. I want to get the Detroit my take on Detroit.
Okay,
We've all really loved them all year. They got a great running game. Offensively, they're dynamic, but defensively, they allow a lot of passing yards.
Yeah.
And I do, if somehow they get through the 49ers or in their Super Bowl, that's the team that I'm rooting for. Just they're just because of the head coach and everything around them. But I'm really excited. I'm really happy that the Detroit Lions got to where they're at. It's going to be a fun game. Kudos to them. Cal, Dan Campbell. I mean, just everything. It's kind of what you're hoping for as a fan, right? Like really turn it around, get back on the radar.
I mean, I love Detroit because they won me $60 on Saturday, or on Sunday. So thanks, guys. I needed over 50 yards with Gibbs, and boy did he get it. So shout out, thanks, guys.
Babe. So let's turn to the Chiefs and the Bills. So we all had the Bills and we were all wrong. The Chiefs still get the job done. Actually, Jim Nantz on the call, he actually said wide right. The words that have haunted this city for decades come back around again, or whatever it was, something along those lines. Like, it was very poetic. And God, when he said wide right, I immediately think back to all of these, when you watch NFL Network and you see the old 90s games, and it's just wide right too, and then wide right again to
how different we would think of the Buffalo Bills if they won all of those Super Bowls,
or one of those, just one of them.
Yeah, but
that's
they
so
went
wild.
To what, four straight.
Can
you imagine if they won all of them?
They won all of them. That's the greatest team of all time.
That's the greatest football dynasty.
Yeah, that's the greatest run of all time if they win all four of them. Nobody's been to 4 straight Super Bowls other than them. And to lose every single one of them, man.
I mean, everything about that franchise. I mean, the quarterback you're talking about, that's the greatest quarterback ever. 4 straight years. The quarterback won. The head coach. I mean, everything is totally different about the Bills. So they're the
Jim Kelly was the quarterback. Yeah. And
but
Jim Kelly's still a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but
you're in the
talking
discussion.
about it's Jim Kelly, Montana, and Brady.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
exactly.
talking
You know
about
what I mean? Like,
a goat level, and
like
he just won't be that. He'll be
Yeah.
known
he's a
for
Hall of
being
Famer.
the 4-time
Yeah.
loser.
It's so rough. Like
second place. 4 times second
I
place.
don't know
Runner
what
up.
I don't know what Greek goddess they pissed off in Buffalo, but it's been all like that's so harsh. That's so
Yeah.
like I do feel bad for the city. I think that's probably part of the reason why I keep picking them every year, and I'm gonna stop picking them. Maybe that's the problem. I don't
Right.
know. Oh God.
Well, Jason was at the game, and he had probably the best night out of everyone there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Jason Kelsey was having a time of his life,
He was,
fighting dragons with Taylor. Yeah.
yeah, he was tailgating with the Bills Mafia, took a shotgun out of a bowling ball, jumped out of the sweet box to shotgun more beers, picked up a fan so she could say hi to Taylor Swift, shotgun beers behind Taylor Swift. He was having the
No
best,
shirt. He our boy
loving it.
runs a little hot. Yeah, because everybody else was still in their jackets and shit. But um, I get it. I run a little hot too. Like it's us big fellas. I totally get it, man. Like
Like if he announces his retirement tomorrow and that was the start of his retirement tour, what a way to kick it off, huh?
I know, right?
Is that Bert
He's having fun
Chrysler?
for
No,
everybody.
it's
Yeah, right.
See the belly? He's having fun for two, my guys.
His daughter texted the mom and said dad's boobs are out.
Yeah. Yeah,
nice.
he really was having a great time.
And his brother got the win, so
Yeah,
everything.
not only did he get the win, Kelsey showed up for the first time since like week 9 or something like that.
Yeah,
2 touchdowns and like he was making all the catches and everything. Yeah. Um, Stephon Diggs dropping what could have been the game-winning touchdown at least would have definitely put them in field goal range in the fourth quarter. And I mean he's been kind of having problems with the team this year. I guess he
yeah.
didn't like a lot of the play calls and everything. So I think this might be it for
We
Stephon Diggs.
we
in
talked about
Buffalo.
this. I mentioned this a little bit off on in the pre-show. Is all there's been so many times specifically with Diggs and Allen with this Buffalo team where Allen is not getting him the ball, not looking his way or whatever, and Diggs is going off, like throwing his helmet, chewing him out, going to the media defending. You got to get the ball to the best wide receiver. You got to get him out of Buffalo. His own brother. Oh, you got to bring him here to Dallas. He fucking dropped a touchdown, or as you said, possibly a field goal range, probably a touchdown. I mean,
Yeah, there was nobody behind. Like
that
I mean,
was like a
if he doesn't
65.
if he doesn't get tackled by the guy that's on him, he's gone.
Vince, that ball was in the air for like 65 yards,
I know.
like in the breadbasket,
Yeah.
and you dropped it.
Oops.
But if the quarterback got pissed off at that, oh, he's a bad teammate. Like just the blame that Josh Allen is getting. Yeah, he missed a couple of throws on the final drive, but he also put quite a few balls on people's hands and they dropped
Well,
it.
he also carried the team with his legs too. I mean,
Right.
he
So
bumbled
Ran
and
for
rumbled
like
all.
70 something yards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he shouldn't get any blame at all. I think okay. Obviously Diggs. We kind of all agree that he's probably not come back next year, right? That's a good. It's a
Yeah.
good.
I
thought.
think he's probably gone.
I think he needs to go back to a stadium in a dome because
he needs to go to Dallas.
No, so
Go
I don't think
fuck up
Dallas.
That
Dallas
would be
is not.
so obnoxious.
Dallas is
Oh my
not going to
god,
be
having
able to.
both Diggs brothers in one team.
Dallas would have to offload, and do I think Jerry would do it? Yeah, but he's going to have to get a lot of stuff to get to Diggs. You know where I could think he's going to go? I could see him going to the Saints because they'll probably get off of Michael Thomas. He'll be done. Olave, maybe they move him. I mean, they don't really have a number one wide receiver. I would say
Olave is a number one. I disagree. I think Olave
I
is
don't
a number
know
one.
if when you compare to the other number ones on the rest of the NFL, I think
part of it is Derek Carr was a little bit more wasn't as willing to distribute it to him every time when he was capable of doing it. I guess Derek Carr is happy to find other people to catch the ball instead of
but when
forcing
Derek
the
Carr
issue.
had Adams, I mean, he was forcing everything to him as well too. I think you're looking at Diggs and Adams and probably a same tier structure as far as what Carr might want as a wide receiver, and I think that might be it. Get him inside of a dome. Have him not blame inclement weather or whatever. get them inside of a dome. At least you get, 6, 7, or 7 games out of it. You know what I mean?
Huh.
Maybe something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean
I
they're
know,
going to be
I know
the
for sure I wouldn't want that on my team. Like,
yeah the
I would.
Bills are going to be in financial trouble too because Josh Allen goes from like I don't know 16 or 18 million this year to like 47 million cap hit next year. So we got to look out. This may be the beginning of the end, but Josh Allen is right in the middle of his prime too. So like he's just starting his prime really. Like so it's going to be an interesting question in Buffalo. How do they like work around that? How do they make sure that there's enough talent around him to keep him in it? How do they even get to do they try to rebuild and burn a year or two of Josh Allen's prime? These are all questions that they're going to have to answer this offseason.
Absolutely.
Sucks to be them.
Yeah, sucks to suck.
Go Baltimore.
Yeah.
Fuck
So
the Chiefs.
the Chiefs are obviously the big winners there. They get the job done. What else do we need to say about that? They're going to the. I saw something. When was the last time that the Chiefs or the Patriots weren't in the AFC title game? Just throw some guesses out there.
That they weren't into it?
Yeah, either one of those teams, the Patriots or the Chiefs. When was the last season that happened?
It had to be like
two-
01, 2000, 99, something like that.
No. It was actually more recent than that. It was 2011.
Oh, wow.
And it was, ready for this, it was Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers.
And the Ravens?
No. The Jets and Mark Sanchez.
Oh, yeah. He went to 2 straight.
Yep.
They went to 2 straight. Wow.
Yeah. Wild. When I saw that, I was like, I had to save this in my back pocket. I need to, the universe needs to know.
Yeah. Mark Sanchez, like what, his first 3 years, they went to the AFC Championship or first 2 years or something
first
like
two,
that?
like 2 of the first 3, I think. But yeah.
Yeah. His first 2 years, I mean, he looked like a promising quarterback.
And then the butt fumble and it all fell apart. You try not to let one play define a man, but sometimes that happens in the Northeast. Looking at you, Buckner. That guy was clutch. Like if you look at like
his whole career,
stats, whole career, he was actually really pretty good.
Like
but then
really good,
it's
and
just
actually a solid defensive.
Defender. But you make one mistake at the worst possible time, and that's the end. You know who didn't make the one mistake at the worst possible time was the Niners. They got it together at the exact right time. They were able to, come from behind, get the win. That's the first time when Shanahan was down 7 or more, the Niners get a win. So that's great. That makes me feel real good. That was basically the last box that anybody who's reasonable needs to see checked. I didn't need to see it at this point, but other people, I mean, when the game was on the line, Brock Purdy mid play drives his hand off and starts throwing fucking darts. Yeah. And that last drive, he was 6 for 7, and the one incompletion was it was George Kittle. Hit him in the hands, and Kittle
miss.
Yeah, Kittle started going for the yak before he had the ball secured, and that was that one's on Kittle. Brock Purdy also scrambled for a couple of plays in that final drive too, and gets the job done. And yeah, Christian McCaffrey is the one that ended up punching it in. But to pretend that Brock didn't manage that drive perfectly the whole way down is just people hating to hate at this point. Like, and
of course
that's what we're starting to see now is people are hating on Brock Purdy because they're jealous. I guess I don't know. They wish they were me. They wish they were him. I don't know. I don't get it. It's,
I mean, two for 2 and getting to the championship game.
Yeah.
And I think there's just this weird, I was listening to a bunch of stuff today, various podcasts, ESPN, Fox Sports, all of these hot takes, and they want to compare Brock to Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, these other quarterbacks are better. Well, what's that mean? That they can run? That they're more athletic? That what does that mean? Brock Purdy as a passer
Mhm.
is the top rated passer in
And
the
not
league.
not only that, like he's very very accurate. I think he was number 2, like a mere like I don't know 100th of a point behind Dak Prescott in terms of accuracy. But Brock Purdy's air yards was more than a yard further than Dak's. Like so he's and
I got
Brock
it
had
here.
like top air yards too. You got it? It was like
Yeah,
5.5 to
his
4.3 or something like
completion
that.
percentage is 69.4.
Yeah.
That's 4th in the league.
Yeah.
But tied for first is Mason Rudolph and Jake Browning. Like,
Okay, well, okay, eliminate those guys. Those guys don't count. So who else was there?
Dak
Was it
Prescott and
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
That's
See,
completion percentage.
Okay. Yeah. So right there.
Average per pass. Brock Purdy, 9.6.
9.6 yards.
The next guy who's like a real quarterback, an everyday quarterback, Tua with Miami at 8.3.
Mm-hmm. More than a yard.
Right, more than a yard.
Yeah, so that's yards
quarterback
per completion.
rating.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite stat that nobody knows what it fucking means.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy 72.8 versus this is the stat you're talking about, Vince.
Yeah.
72.8 versus Dak Prescott 72.7.
No, that's not what I was talking about. That's QBR. I'm talking about air yards.
Okay, his passer rating.
No. I'm saying air yard, like how far per attempt he throws.
Oh yeah, that was like 9 point.
Oh no. That's that factors in yards after the catch. I'm talking about strictly in the air. Like somebody else brought that up. I saw somebody talking
about yards
that.
per game or
no yards
his rate. Let me real quick his rating as you find that his quarterback rating, passer rating 113 versus Dak Prescott's 105.9. So I mean, as a passer, Brock Purdy's the number 1 quarterback passer in the league. So like we should be excited. This is a second year player for a historical franchise that is known for quarterbacks. And I'm not knocking Jordan Love. He was great. He was fantastic. He outplayed Brock a majority of the game. But Jordan Love threw an interception, threw a ball he shouldn't have thrown. He should have held on to the ball, got rid of the ball, or ran. But that interception should not have happened. And Jordan Love is a year older than Brock Purdy and has been in the system with the same head coach in the offensive system for 4 years. I would expect him to know the offense, know the language. You know, he's been practicing this offense for 4 years. But to make it, you know, to disparage Brock Purdy when he's having a great season and he's only in his second year, instead of celebrating how great the league is right now with young quarterback play, we're shitting on a guy.
Yep.
Like we should be excited that Brock Purdy is with the 49ers. We should be excited that Josh Allen's in Buffalo. We should be excited that Jordan Love is in Green Bay, another historical franchise where, what is everybody saying? Damn, how did Green Bay do this? You go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to potentially now Jordan Love. This is exciting. This should be a good thing. Instead, we're crapping on this dude. Like, it's crazy that the national media hates Brock Purdy. Like, I don't understand. The only thing I can think of is that they're upset that he's just the last pick of the draft and everybody was wrong on him. Like, I don't get it. I don't have a reason.
To be fair, national pundits were also really critical on Josh Allen when the Bills drafted him. Everyone said that was the terrible pick. They said, yeah, this guy will never be a top quarterback. And look, he's top 5 quarterback.
And my dad in the chat, it's barely his second year. Yeah.
I remember
I can't find it.
Whatever the ESPN draft coverage was when Josh Allen got picked by the Bills. I forget who it was, but one of the commentators said he's not even the best Josh Allen in the draft.
Oh, because of the Jaguars. Yeah.
Correct. So,
which, by the way, the other Josh Allen has carved out a pretty good career for himself too. So
far, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the crapping on Brock Purdy is just wild. Like, it's just wild.
Mhm.
You know, we should be excited for this young man that he is the final pick in the draft at quarterback and lighting it up. And I think a lot of it has to do with the look. Like, he just doesn't look like a Lamar Jackson or Jordan Love or Patrick Mahomes. He's not running around and throwing the ball behind his head and doing this crazy athletic stuff.
Yeah,
But
and that's not what Brock is, but he's getting the job done, and he's still, I mean, he's mobile enough. Clearly, he can
look,
extend
10
plays.
years
That's
from
what we
now,
need to do.
let's play our favorite game, hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
10 years from now, if the 49ers win, say, 3 championships, 3 Lombardis,
Mm-hmm.
and Brock Purdy's the starter in all of them, and maybe one of them he's an MVP. We're
He's
talking about
probably
his
MVP.
career totally different.
Oh, absolutely. And I think if the Niners win 3 Super Bowls in the next 10 years, I mean, just the way that the MVP is handed out, it basically always goes to a quarterback anyway. So he'll have 3 Super Bowl MVPs if that's the case.
Well, I could see Christian McCaffrey going off.
DMC could go off for one of them, but
he's going off.
He'll get 2 of the 3 probably.
Right.
He's getting at least 2 of the 3.
You know, when we look back at Tom Brady's career, he was a late round draft pick, and everybody was, oh God, I can't believe this quarterback taken in the 6th round.
Yeah. Some guys just can't handle the fact that they missed on him.
Like,
that's what it really comes down to, I think.
The media was celebrating Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
They were celebrating him. So like, I don't understand. We were celebrating Kurt Warner bagging groceries, and then all of a sudden it's the number 1 offense. Like, Kurt Warner couldn't, like, what's his career running? He's got 5 yards? I mean,
I have more rushing yards in the NFL than Kurt Warner.
Come on. Kurt Warner is probably one of the least athletic Hall of Fame quarterbacks we've ever seen. So I think people just, when we talk about, oh, this quarterback's better. Well, what's better? He's more athletic. He can run. He can do crazy stuff that no one else can do. What does that mean? Brock Purdy is quarterbacking one of the best offenses right now. And not only that, he's quarterbacking one of the best offensive systems in the NFL. Everybody talks about Kyle Shanahan's system is one of the most difficult systems to run. And Brock Purdy's performing it. He's performing better in this system than any quarterback, and that's including MVP Matt Ryan.
Yeah, the numbers show that too. And
so
the 17th game doesn't matter because Brock didn't play in week 18, which was the 17th game. So just on a 16 game. So even if you want to nitpick about, the counting stats being a little higher or whatever,
played 16 games.
Brock played 16 games, and he's right there with the best season that anyone else has ever had under Kyle. And so I'm excited for this, for the future. The future's looking bright, and the fact that he's a 7th round pick means that they're going to be able to spend top dollar on a lot of other talent for the next couple of years still, before having to actually really pay Brock. And that's why Brock is already doing commercials for Alaska Airlines or whatever. Because, he's going to get his money. When you're the quarterback of the 49ers, that's an opportunity to make a lot of money doing endorsements and stuff like that. And,
I look at Green Bay different now. I mean, going into next year, I look at Green Bay different. You get rid of your Hall of Fame quarterback and you follow it up with a young quarterback who's potentially executing the system better than the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're probably going to see more matchups with the 49ers and the Packers. This is exciting.
Yeah.
This is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we shitting on each other? Why are we crapping on these quarterbacks? It should be celebrated. This is a great time.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah,
Jordan Love was fantastic.
Yeah, it's time to give some flowers to Jordan Love. He had an absolute magical season, and that's another one of the memes that have been going around is Jesse Pinkman going, he can't keep doing this, and it's like the Bears, Lions, and Vikings fans seeing that Green Bay drafted another franchise quarterback
Right.
again. Like this
It's
is,
true.
like they did it again. I can't believe it, but he looks fantastic, and especially the last half of the year, the Packers gave the Niners everything they had. They brought their A game, and like if that field goal attempt gets made instead of missed, that's a tied game because the Niners did end up getting down and scoring. So then it goes to overtime. Who knows what happens?
I was hoping
Um,
for overtime. Actually, I told
I
Tyler, I
was
was like,
not. I wanted that win.
I wanted over
I
because
don't want overtime. Fuck you.
because it was a fun game. I
Oh
wanted
no.
to see more. I
Yeah.
wanted more.
Mhm.
And that's something that these commentators, these national knuckleheads should be embracing instead of just going for clickbait shit. This was exciting.
It was
This was
so.
fun.
Yeah, less fun for me, just stressful. But I mean, if I can see literally everybody else was having fun watching it. I know that,
Yeah,
it was an incredible game, and I'm just glad my team ended up on the winning side of it.
absolutely. I
You know
get it.
that
Yeah.
that's the Niners brought their C game, and it would have been even lower if they didn't get the win. Like I would have given that a D minus if they end up losing. Like if that
Next
last drive
year,
doesn't happen.
next
Um,
year,
yeah,
how much more exciting is the season going to be, especially playoff time when the Philadelphia Eagles ain't done. They're going to be there. So how much more fun does it make it that Green Bay is legit? Green Bay versus Philly. That's going to be fun. Top
Yeah.
tier quarterbacks.
the old Reggie White Bowl.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's going to be fun. We should be
Rest
celebrating
in
this,
peace.
not crapping on these people, not disparaging. Okay, Brock Purdy does it different. He does it more of an old school pinpoint accuracy passer stuff. He doesn't run around and do crazy amazing shit like Patrick Mahomes, but that's a once we've never seen that before.
Yeah,
It's like the only one.
and there's more than one way to quarterback to
You know, you
successfully
can't even
quarterback.
you can't even say Lamar Jackson does what Patrick Mahomes does. They're both extremely athletic, but
Yeah.
so far, Patrick Mahomes is the only one who does that type of stuff.
Right.
Like it's the only one of one. You
Mhm.
know?
I
And
mean,
then
it also helps that Kelsey is the most uh non-natural route running tight end in the NFL. Like
he's
he'll run
probably
a
the best
route.
receiving tight end.
Exactly.
Just
He'll run a route and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go run this now because he needs me here. Like their IQ of where
Yeah,
they need to be
the
together is top
telepathy between
notch.
them.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
they're it's an exciting time for an offensive style of football. Because, 'cause obviously the NFL doesn't want people playing defense anymore.
right.
So embrace the quarterback play, embrace different styles. This should be a good thing. This is a good thing that a quarterback hit as the last pick in the draft. That gives hope to every quarterback coming out of the system that it doesn't matter where you're taken. It doesn't matter if you're drafted or not. This is a good thing. And instead we're crushing the guy for being amazing.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So let's I'm gonna start sharing my screen again to bring up the pick'em challenge because I think we should probably move on. We've so here we are. Here's our standings. Right now, me and Sam are tied with 8 points, and Tyler is right behind us with 6 points. The championship Sunday, you get 4 points for every correct pick. So this is where we can start really separating. As far as our preseason Super Bowl picks, Tyler, you're done. Congratulations. No bonus for you. Sam, obviously, we talked about this before. You had the Jets and the Niners. I had the Bills and the Niners. The Niners are still alive, which means we still have a shot at bonus points. I could still get 10 bonus points. You can max out at 5. So we'll see how this breaks down this weekend as we look to the Chiefs and the Ravens. That's a noon Pacific kickoff. The Ravens are 3.5 point favorites. Sam,
Ravens.
I thought you would do that. I already had it highlighted, and I'm copying and I'm pasting. Tyler,
Ravens.
Ravens. Okay. And it's so close. This game is gonna like three and a half points. That's gonna get bet down to probably 2.5. I think.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so close. I think I'm also gonna go with the Ravens this time. I feel like it's it's gonna come down to something silly, and Lamar Jackson can like maybe he has the rushing game of his life. I think about what Colin Kaepernick did in like 2012 to the Packers when he ran for like 181 yards or something like that. It like I could see Lamar doing something like that, just having an extraordinary rushing game, and then because he does that, it keeps them honest, and it keeps it opens up windows for Zay Flowers, and maybe Mark Andrews comes back this week. We'll see, but if not, Isaiah Likely's performed admirably as well. So.
The 49ers game I checked this afternoon, that line's moved up to officially 7 now.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Mhm.
It depends what site you look at. The one that I looked at from like 6 hours ago had 6.5. I'll change it to 7 just for shits and giggles.
The Athletic had at 7 as well too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's so the Niners are 7-point favorites. We'll call it 7. Hosting the Lions. I obviously am picking the 49ers. That's a shock to no one, especially if you're on YouTube and you see my hat. Obviously I'm picking the Niners. I had them winning the whole damn thing. I'm not going to stop picking them now. Gentlemen, are any of you going to be my mortal enemy?
Go ahead, Sam.
Niners.
Okay.
Okay. In order for me to try to win this, I have to pick the Lions. So I'm going to go Lions, but I think
Okay.
the 49ers are going to win it. But in order for me to win this, I have to pick the Lions. I don't have a
Okay.
choice.
All right.
You should just pick the Chiefs.
Nah,
No, you want to save it for the other game. Okay. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Tyler, you can go die. No.
Hey, man, I still think the 49ers are going to win it, but in order for me
You're
to have a
gonna
chance to
feel
win
like
this,
shit
No,
if he
I
dies,
understand.
dude.
I did. I remember like last year I had to make a pick like this, picking against what I thought would happen. Like I get it. I get it. It's fine.
yeah,
You're trying to win a game here.
yeah, you know.
So are the Niners. So yeah, so this is gonna be yeah, I stopped sharing, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Okay. So there we go. We all have the Ravens. Me and Sam have the Niners. Tyler's going with the Lions, and we're ready to have some fun this weekend. It's Championship Sunday. It's the 4 best teams left, and I mean you can argue about like, oh, maybe the Cowboys should have been there. Maybe they should have won their damn game against the Packers. Um, or
Damn,
like
why are the Cowboys getting shade? They weren't even here last week.
fuck them, because I anytime I have an opportunity to like take a swipe at the Cowboys, I'm going to,
You don't need to.
because
You don't need
fuck
to.
them
You
boys.
don't need to this week. You know why?
No,
Because all the Cowboy fans are dealing with Mike McCarthy being their head coach
no.
again.
The Cowboys fans, a lot of them are the ones talking shit about Brock Purdy. So I'm gonna hit him again. Go fuck.
Well, welcome to my world. They talk shit about my Eagles every week.
Well,
So
yeah, but I
Did
mean,
you guys hear
like,
about I know there's some coaching news, but did you hear the Eagles are going to be interviewing Ron Rivera for their DC?
For the
okay,
Jamaicans.
so I immediately was so against this, right? And I still am, right? I don't I get Ron Rivera was a decent DC and he could be a good DC, and a lot of people are excited to see a head coach not wanting a head coaching job to be a DC for the Eagles, right? That's what they're saying throughout Reddit and whatnot. I am 100% nope. I don't want him in the building. I don't want anything about it. I said today that our defense was already a crapshoot this year. Why add Riverboat Ron to the mix as well? So I don't want him in there. You know what? Honestly, like, well, I think the Ravens, their DC is going to get moved on to somewhere, or at least their assistant to the DC is going to be moved on, who we were looking at. We're also looking at possibly uh, there's another guy, I'm drawing a blank in his name right now, but he's with the Giants as their defensive coach. And he's not wanting a head coaching job. He might be a good pick. He blitzes all the time, but he runs a man offense. I'm a man defense. So I don't know. There's a lot of things I just don't want Ron Rivera. I would even take the Dallas and their assistant that they have, that linebacker coach that they have. I take him too. I mean, their DC is probably gonna be a head coach going next year, but I take their assistant. Anyone
Um,
over
has anybody heard from Eric Bieniemy? Have you heard
Eric
anything
and
about him?
He
no,
interviewed with Washington for their head coaching,
Okay.
but
yeah,
as outside of that, I don't
All
know.
right, we'll see then.
The other one I read about today, another former Eagle and 49er interviewing, potentially interviewing for an OC job. Currently, the UCLA head coach, Chip Kelly, and
that's not gonna happen. He wouldn't get back
for
in the building.
for for no, I'm not saying for the Eagles. I'm saying there's teams interested in potentially interviewing him for an OC job, and I'm like, God, please, not the Raiders, please,
OC an OC job.
no,
I don't want him.
no.
But to be clear, I don't want him. But I could see how some other NFL teams might view him not as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator. I mean, I could see why they would want to at least kick the tires on him.
Mm.
The
Oh,
Eagles, I believe, are interviewing Jim Bob Cooter for
I'm
the
all for
offense.
that one. I'm all for that
Oh
one,
man.
baby. I'm all for that. I mean,
um,
he did stellar things in Indianapolis. He did stellar things with Matt Stafford in Detroit. So, I'm all
the
for it.
the Bengals hire, or excuse me, the Titans hire Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan.
Hmm.
His daddy, you know who his daddy is?
Former Raiders head
Yep,
coach.
Yep.
Bill Callahan. So I'm pretty sure Brian Callahan is probably going to bring Papa Bill over in some offensive OC, or
Capacity. Yeah.
yeah,
Line
I think
coach, something.
I think he was on the Bengals staff as a offensive assistant. Um, I think with Brian Callahan, because the Bengals had a they have a great offense as far as like scheme, I believe. I mean, they got obviously had some great quarterback play when Joe Burrow was healthy. I could see Brian Callahan like not doing well in Tennessee, and to no fault of his own as far as like a coach. I think the problem is going to be that it seems like this franchise is on the decline with talent, with ownership not really knowing what they're doing. I actually can see Brian Callahan not doing too well in Tennessee, but then getting that second job and doing better on that second job. But he's a hell of a OC, and he comes from Bill Callahan um bucked up in the Super Bowl by not changing any of the language. But as a coordinator, as a schemer, Bill Callahan, I mean, he dialed it up. I mean, he had years of having a top ranked offense. So it's an exciting hire.
Yep. Well, it also knocks off my thing on the board there, so we don't have to bring that up anymore.
That's why I did it, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Smooth ass
Uh,
I
transition,
see
bro.
that.
all
I see
right.
that. I see
Yeah.
that. I think that's pretty much it as far as coaching news goes
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
this week.
So let's just move on. We just want to point out that the Warriors didn't have
Still
any
no
games.
GM for the Raiders, which is
Oh,
They're
yeah, that is weird.
interviewing the Chargers GM.
yes. So what's being discussed now, what's coming out, so Vinny Bonsignor has a relationship with Mark Davis. So information's coming out from Vinny, who covers the Raiders, and then some other stuff is coming out is Mark Davis's concern, his concern, and there's the business side, and then there's the football side, right? The business side is 100% like, we love Champ Kelly. Then there's the football people who are not in agreement with Champ Kelly. And it's not that he's not a good enough GM candidate or anything like that. They're worried that it's kind of a repeat of a rookie head coach and a rookie general manager. So that's what they're kind of worried about. So now, and the other thing is Ed Dodds, who was the talent evaluator with Indianapolis Colts. He's been considered like one of the top evaluators of talent. So he's in the mix. And the reason why they're interviewing the guy with the Chargers from the Chargers, Ted Telesco, I think his name is. Um, the Chargers, they've been able to build really good rosters. They just have not been able to figure it out with coaches. So the rumor is potentially that Talasco would be some type of president of football operations, and then Dodds or Champ Kelly would then be the GM. But right now, the latest rumor is they would want to hire Dodds as the general manager and Champ Kelly remain as the assistant general manager. So
Okay.
that might be a tough pill for Champ Kelly to swallow. So I think the reason why they went ahead with Antonio Pierce, I think all three candidates probably said they're okay with Antonio Pierce being the head coach. So I think that's why they went ahead and announced that AP is going to be the coach, but they're still trying to figure out this GM. But we're supposed to find out who's getting the job in the next day or two is what's being reported. So head scratcher. So we'll see. Raiders don't do anything normal. They don't do anything. Here we go.
Hang on for the ride.
Basketball. We're moving on to basketball.
Yeah. So the Warriors, obviously, because of the awfulness, didn't have any games over the last week. But they did go to practice earlier today, and it looks like that they will be playing their games. All three of them are at home. They're hosting the Hawks, the Kings, and the Lakers this week. As far as we know at this point, they will be playing those games. So right now, they're currently sitting 12th in the West, 18 wins, 22 losses. So obviously, they need to start winning some games, get back to 500, and then we can start talking playoffs.
What's really great too is January 25th is Hello Kitty night. So there's a special plush giveaway at the Warriors game, and it also
Versus the
happens to
Kings?
be my birthday. So if anybody wants to send me a Hello Kitty plush, inbox me. I'll DM my address. So hit me up.
Right. The important things happening here, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if they, get some wins before the sad news. They just seem like a lifeless, no identity team. So I'm hoping from a bad situation, the silver lining that maybe this kind of puts some energy into them and
Unifies
brings
them a
them
little bit.
together and
Yeah.
becomes something, like glue.
A rallying point
Yeah,
or
so
something. I mean, you got to
we'll
figure
see.
it'll take probably about 45 wins to get into the playoffs, something like
Give
that.
about. Yeah.
Yep.
Thereabouts. And we're close to halfway through the season at this point, right? I mean, yeah, so 40 games in.
And the trade deadline is
like 2 weeks,
2.5 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, so the time is now. If you're going to make some moves,
Draymond was on his podcast and said, I wouldn't be surprised if there are trades. I think if you do any trades, it's probably a back end of the roster trade. I don't even know if you can really do anything of significance. Like,
the problem is that Wiggins has been so terrible that he has no trade market.
Yeah,
You're not going to move on
value.
from. You're not going to move on from Moody. You're not going to move on from Kuminga. You can't move Chris Paul because he's injured right now.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of.
You're in no man's land.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of things do need to change if they have any shot at, I don't know, being a title contender. I don't think that's really in the cards as it stands right now. So some things have to be adjusted and get changed quickly.
And there may not even be a change. This may be the roster for the rest of the season. I'll tell you right now, if a trade happens, it's going to be something so bonkers that we're going to be like, oh my God. It would be like they moved Clay and Dre. Like it would be something along those lines. You'd be like, wow, they actually did do that. Like you would be sitting in front of like, oh my God, they did that.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
would have to be to that.
There was the report out that literally everybody except Steph is on the trade block. Like, so if another team is interested, then the Warriors are probably willing to at least make a deal.
But Draymond
we'll
has
see.
another year, right? He has one more year
I think he
on
has
his
two.
contract.
He has two more years. This is the first year of that 3 year
This is the first
extension,
year of the 3 year.
as far as I know.
No, he
It was
signed a
like
4-year, $100 million. This is his first year.
oh no,
He's
the
got
the,
three
the
more.
last year though was an option year.
Right,
That's what I was thinking of. So
player option.
So
right?
he's got 2 more guaranteed years, and then who knows what happens with that 3rd year.
Yeah,
Right.
see, like if anybody's going to trade for Draymond, who's taking that? That's crazy. And then how many years does Clay have?
This Clay will be a free agent this coming season.
So he's expiring right now.
Yeah, he's an expiring contract right now.
So that's probably your best option is trying
Exactly.
to is an expiring.
Yeah. They got to play some games and build up some value.
Right. So
that's the thing too, is that Clay has played way below his better lately, but he's played so way below his standard norm that even if you're going to trade him, like you're not going to get what you want for him. So maybe you don't even move on from him either because he's not valuable enough to move on.
Well, I think either way, he's probably not coming back next year because the cost,
Right.
like at this point, like you're just going to try to get rid of these contracts any way you can. So at some point you can bring in another contract.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess that pretty much does it for Warriors talk. We just kind of got to wait and see how the team plays coming out of this awfulness. So let's just switch gears and jump straight into hockey. There was only one game since we last talked. It was against the Anaheim Ducks. Yeah, we all called it. I gave us all our points for one of the
called
week.
it, bro. I said
Logan Couture. We talked about it on Friday. Logan Couture could be back any day. That day was Sunday night against Anaheim. The Sharks get the win. Logan had an apple in his return game. He looked pretty good. The offense was the first period was terrible, but the second and the third period, it was probably the best that I've seen the Sharks play all season.
The funny part about that game, okay, I got up to go use the restroom at Sam's house, and then the Sharks score, right? Like immediately, right?
Okay.
He was like walking into the door and shut the door.
Then like maybe a couple minutes later, Lisa goes to use the restroom. As soon as she walks in, the Sharks score.
Nice. All right. That's great. Okay, so right now they're still dead last in everything, but I talked about it before. They needed a little bit of a spark, and Logan Couture certainly provided that. He even got a penalty. He found himself 2 minutes in the sin bin. So that's gives some life to the team a little bit. Who knows? That's if nothing else, it increases his trade value. And,
yeah.
And they can get some more pieces at this point. So it's already a lost season. I don't. They're not going to pull a St. Louis Blues and go worst to first. This is not the year for that. So, I just need to see them playing better in the second half of the year than they have in this first half of the year. So the upcoming games are Monday at the LA Kings, Tuesday home against the Rangers, and then Saturday versus Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo as my win of the week.
I was going to take Buffalo.
Okay.
Because I picked them to beat them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. How about you, Tyler? Who's your win of the week?
Buffalo
Kings on Monday.
I know Buffalo's an easy pick, but you know what? The Rangers.
Oh, you're taking the back end of the back-to-back. Okay.
Yeah. I think they're gonna get their shit pushed in against the Kings.
Jesus.
And I think there's gonna be some motivation, and they're gonna come out like gangbusters, and New York's gonna underestimate them.
All right. So I'm adding that into my notes. All right. So as far as win of the week scores go, I have 6.5 games correct because of that shootout loss. Tyler, you have 5, and Sam, you have 2. So here we go. Let's start adding to those totals. And that being said, let's just scoot across the pond to Wrexham. And how did they do, Tyler?
They lost.
Damn it.
But it's okay. They lost 1-0 to Newport County. Excuse me, I apologize. Getting over a cold here. We picked up a red card on that one too. So, all things considered, both teams played pretty crappy. Newport kind of got a I would consider a lucky goal at this point, but sucks that you didn't get a draw out of it, but not a problem. They're currently 15, 7, and 5, still in second place, still 2 points away from Stockport, who pulled a draw. So they didn't get the extra point advantage ahead of us, so they're at 3 points. So we're lucky there, but still plenty of time. Like we said, they still got to win 20 games. So now that number of winning how much has kind of shrunk a little bit, but also top dogs and the lower levels losing games will also change that magic number for us as two. So up next we got against Crawley Town, and I think in a couple weeks we got our round 5 of the FA Cup.
Okay.
So looking forward to that. That will be the big one. I'm pretty sure that will be televised because it's now you're starting to get some of the Premier Leagues and championship teams in the mix now. So should be fun.
Yep. All right. So just a couple of something that just broke like right before we started recording. Aroldis Chapman's going to the Pirates on a 1-year deal. Whoopee.
Yeah.
The Pirates owner said he was going to be competitive.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean, Aroldis Chapman is,
he's
obviously a talented reliever, kind of a shitbag human, but
well,
whatever.
damn it. I was going to make a bet on Joel Embiid scoring more than what they were averaging him to score tonight, and I should have taken it because Joel Embiid, breaking news, just scored 70 points versus the Spurs to pass Wilt Chamberlain for the most points in 76ers game history.
70? 7-0.
7-0.
Out of Joel Embiid. Holy shit balls.
Just past Wilt Chamberlain.
God damn. That's
over.
wild. So that's like the only guys left. Is that game over?
It's over. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay. So, I mean, like you're talking Kobe and Wilt are the only two like 1-game performances higher.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Kobe had 81 and Wilt has your, I put in quotations because no one knows the video, but the 100 points, of course.
Right. Well, stat guys, I'm sure they were on top of it, and that's official.
Yeah.
It's official. The 100 is official. It's in
I also have heard rumors about stat guys not always knowing the stats, and they just kind of flub in a number once in a while.
Moving on. Yeah. So that's wild.
Oh,
that's
you know what
cool.
I forgot to mention? Sorry. The Panthers name former linebacker Dan Morgan, general manager.
Really?
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers named former linebacker Dan
That's another
Morgan.
poverty franchise.
But yeah, poverty franchise indeed. Yeah, so I guess the only other thing that really happened of note, I mean, we touched on it briefly, but I just want to say it again. Fuck John Fisher. The Salt Lake plan, have you heard the specifics of this?
No.
There's two different minor league ballparks happening.
Of course.
They're moving like Salt Lake City, their AAA team has a 14,500 seat stadium in downtown Salt Lake. They're in the process of building a new one that's going to open like 30 minutes down the road in 2025 that only seats 7,500. I want you to guess which one the A's are interested in possibly playing at.
Gotta be the smallest one possible.
Yeah, that'd be the 7,500. They're going full mullet arena. Ridiculous. I mean, and honestly, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. That being said, of all the plans that make no sense, the Salt Lake one actually makes the most not sense. Because there's at least 2 stadiums that'll be viable, and so you're not kicking a minor league team out of their home entirely. You're just kind of delaying them from moving into their new one, and they would play in the old one for another 3 years. It still doesn't make sense at all. I don't get it. I don't get how the money works in any meaningful way. It's
because he's just gonna go ahead and just make money off of the whole revenue sharing. So he really give a shit about the
right. How much is these revenue sharing checks? That's what I really want to know.
Forbes was saying a couple years ago, like right up to the pandemic, the A's were number 5 in all of profits.
Yeah, in terms of
So,
profit, yeah.
Like
you know,
more than the Yankees,
well, the
more
Yankees
than
are
the
like
Dodgers.
one, two,
Well, when you don't spend any money on overhead, like, employees,
right.
and that's not
So,
just the players, like we're talking people running concession stands
well,
and
what's this? I saw something the
security.
other day. I don't have the link on our files. There's a state that MOB doesn't. They want to make the ball players like they don't get the minimum wage. The minimum wage law that was passed for whatever state. They're saying ball players should be exempt from the minimum wage law.
Oh, for the
So
minor leagues?
yeah, so they would actually be paid below minimum wage to be
Treat them like restaurant workers, right? But baseball players don't get tips, so that's
so it is just
fucking hell.
what John Fisher is doing. I mean, like, we've covered it here so many times, but just as an owner, and MLB is complicit with this, and early on when all of this crap was breaking, we talked about the regional sports networks and how they're getting into cahoots with this Sinclair group, and the Bally group is in cahoots with Sinclair, and they're buying media outlets. They just bought the Baltimore Sun, and they're turning them into these political stations that have nothing to do with sports. And now Amazon, where Jeff Bezos purchased the Washington Post, now Amazon is going to pay a bunch of money to Bally. It's a mess. It's a mess. Sports and baseball, they're selling their souls to their devil to make a couple of more bucks, where you're already profitable. You're already
Mhm.
$1 billion.
It's a quicker couple of bucks. It's so
Right?
fucking
Like,
and
it's
it's
totally unnecessary.
short-sighted as fuck. Like,
It's short-sighted. You're destroying communities. Okay, fine. Everybody for some strange reason, everybody loves to shit on Oakland. Um, Politically, nationally, just everything is like crap all over Oakland. But when it comes to, this is going to happen again with nothing's finalized in Tampa Bay, nothing's
Yep.
finalized in Baltimore, nothing's finalized with the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Colorado Rockies,
Kansas City.
Milwaukee is still bitching about their upgrades, Kansas City. So when you start having 8, 9, 10 teams asking for free stadiums and free land, and the hell with your housing issues, your homeless issues, all of these major metropolitans, all of them have issues with homelessness and drugs and the environment of a major metropolitan city. And you're going to get the ballpark. And look at Milwaukee. They gave them this ballpark. They gave them the land. They helped fund it. And now Milwaukee needs another $400 million to fix it up.
Yep.
So every 10 years, every 20 years, you're going to be ponying up another 400 million, another 500 million. So it's endless. And I
The
none
grift keeps grifting.
yeah, nothing makes sense with John Fisher and the A's. None of it makes sense. They own half the current site. So already they're using that to leverage against the city. They won't allow community benefits to happen on the current site. They won't allow other people to rent it where the A's would make money. They won't allow it to be redeveloped unless they're controlling it. They don't even try to negotiate buying the half from the city of Oakland. So they literally just want to cripple a community, cripple a city. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's nonsense. Fuck John Fisher.
Seriously. I mean, I would make some funny little quip, or whatever, but it's just fuck John Fisher. That's it. I mean, we've been rallying, we've been screaming about this
This guy wants
for
to put his art
years.
gallery in the stadium in Las Vegas. He's going to put his art gallery
Yeah,
in a fucking baseball stadium.
that totally makes sense.
Like, what are we doing?
Fucking asshole.
You
I'm
know,
gonna call them the assholes.
and
You know,
he he gets the San Jose Quake Stadium built on land that was like the least desirable land to put a stadium. You can't have any fireworks or never. You can never do anything.
It's literally right across the street from the airport. Oh, hey, the new site's like right next to the airport too. There goes fireworks there. They're not doing fireworks. Yeah.
Right.
Not to mention you can't build a dome because you're near an airport, because you're going to have lights to cover the dome, which is too much for air traffic control. So it's illegal. Yeah, so you can't have a dome.
Yeah, and then he starts complaining about the stadium is already outdated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you chose the site. You chose the design. You said you needed this stadium to have competitive balance, to fund the team. And not once have you funded the team. They're just mediocre.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've just been mid for 15 years. They had this fucking stadium. You think this is going to change with the A's? Come on.
They finished the Quakes finished 9th, which is the last place you can finish in while still making the playoffs. They got bounced one and done. And this was actually the first time they made the playoffs since the freaking the Goonies years in
Landon Donovan.
No, like 2012, 2013.
Oh, right.
They actually like they had a really actually like high scoring team those couple of years. They actually won the Supporter Shield in 2012. But that ended after like they went to the semifinals, I think, and lost in that round. And so and I mean, so you've had one playoff win in a dozen years, basically, with the Quakes. And the new stadium, they've had that since 2015, and that one playoff win came before the new stadium. So clearly that's helped.
The richest contract in A's history is not, you know, it's Eric Chavez. He didn't issue that contract. It's still the Chris Davis deal, right?
That's how much the most that he's ever given. That was 3 years, 48.
It was that one, and then followed by Billy Butler.
Billy Butler was 3 and 30. So like the most.
So, but it was Chris Davis was 3 and 38,
3 and 48,
and then he got traded. It's like you didn't even get that money. So
yeah,
you know.
So he's never spent more than $50 million on a single player
ever between both franchises that he owns.
Yeah.
So
disgusting. Okay, you know what, we should wrap this up. We really should. I'm just gonna rage eat now. That'll be good for the doctor appointment.
All right, boys. You are listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell to get alerts when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at SVT Sports Pod. Slide into our DMs. We would love to interact with all of you beautiful people.
Later, bunch of fucking beauties, everybody that watches this. Later.
Have a good night, guys.